Okay, so the last year has actually been a big change in the eruption, not because the eruption style has changed. It's pretty much been the same as it has the last few years, but it's been different just because we've had the lake rising to sustained high levels. And it's been rising high enough that it's been regularly or frequently visible from Jagger Museum. And this is a photo I took just on Sunday night from Jagger. You can see two spattering sources here. Okay, so there's a lot of information in this plot. We can disregard most of it, but this is basically just showing the trend of the lava lake level in the lake, of the lake through the entire eruption, or when we were able to start measuring it in 2009. And you can see we've had this overall increase, rise in level. And you can also see, well, here's that spike in level during the April-May 2015 that actually raised the Overlook crater rim level 8 yards. Just over the last year, beginning in late 2015, early 2015, we saw kind of a step up in the level. And we still have high levels, but they kind of peaked around September, October. But still today we have high levels and the lava lake is very frequently visible from Jagger. So the viewing is really good right now. Yeah, and of course the great views are a major draw for visitors. And I think it's really great that people the public can come and watch from, the safety of the Jagger Overlook. They can watch this really amazing spectacle, without having to, say, put on hard hats and gas masks like we have to do when we go down into the closed area. Okay, so a common question is, how big is the lake, or how big is the Overlook crater? Well, they're about the same size because the lake fills most of the Overlook crater here. Here's that satellite image again. Actually, the most recent measurement is about 640 feet by 840 feet here in this direction. Okay, so let's kind of zoom in on the lake. Halemaumau Overlook is right here. And we'll do an outline here. And we'll try to, so yesterday I was procrastinating, and I was thinking of good ways to compare the lake size here to things that might help us get an intuitive feel for how large the lake is. So here's my first attempt here. Do you know where this is? Jagger, yeah. So there's a Jagger parking lot, Jagger Museum, HVO building. And you can see, obviously, you can fit all of that in the Overlook crater. So pretty big. Okay, here's my second attempt. Do you know where this is? Yeah, it's in Hilo. Yeah, Target Safeway parking lot here. It's a big parking lot. And actually, it's amazing because the crater is as long as this very large parking lot is. And you could fit most of that parking lot and most of the buildings, which are very large buildings, in the crater. Yeah, so and it's a pretty big parking lot. Sometimes, if you forget something and you have to walk back, you really appreciate it. Okay, so how many have been to Aloha Stadium? Yeah. So this really surprised me. It's almost exactly the same size. It's amazing. It's an amazing fit. Yeah, so obviously this is a big, this is a big space. Okay, how many have been to the U.S. Capitol? Okay, so this is obviously an enormous building as well. And it's almost exactly the same length as the crater is. Okay, so how many have been to the U.S. Pentagon? Yeah. So, yeah, the Pentagon is a huge building, and actually the Overlook crater is no match for the size of the Pentagon. The Pentagon apparently is one of the largest office buildings on Earth, so, yeah. But I guess you could probably fit Panda Express in there. Yeah, so how did the Overlook crater get to be this large? Well, you saw the process with those videos, the collapses of the crater walls that sometimes impacted the lake and sometimes triggered explosions. This is a nice time-lapse sequence. The crater began just on the crater wall here and then it's slowly been eating into the crater floor. I'll show that again. So it began just perched on the crater wall. And you can see how in the early days it was pretty hard to actually see what was going on. And actually thermal cameras were really useful in seeing through that thick fume. Now we have better views just because of the size of the crater. Okay, and I showed you how, when that plot a few slides back, how the lava lake level has varied a lot. We've had this overall rising trend. You know, it was, in the early days of the eruption, it was commonly 200 yards or so below the rim. And you know, we've had it overflowing, like in April of 2015.